To update us on the developments in the digital banking system, we have amongst us Ms. Anuradha Rao, Deputy Managing Director and Chief Digital Officer of SBI. Prior to her current assignment, she was the CEO of SBI Fund Management Private Limited. Ms. Rao joined SBI as a probationary officer in 1982 and has over 33 years of experience in commercial banking. She has also handled prestigious assignments, including Vice President Credit Chicago and Faculty for Credit at State Bank Staff College, Hyderabad. Ms. Rao, please.
Respected Financial Controller, Financial Commissioner, Railways, Mr. A.K. Prasad. Respected former Financial Commissioner, Railways, Mr. V. Sivashankaran. Esteemed members of the Indian Railway Account Service, good evening. And good evening to the esteemed family members also. It actually amazes me that the service members should choose to spend their annual day on such a serious pursuit. And it is truly humbling to find that this is so. State Bank of India is truly honored to be invited to be part of this annual day celebration. And it's my honor to represent the bank on the occasion. And to Mr. Sivashankaran, I would really like to say it is actually an honor to be in the presence of a pioneer in computerization in the field for railways, as I have learned from his scintillating talk. The other thing that I have come to understand today is listening to all the speakers. Indian Railway Account Service is not a service. I think it believes in service. And that is the reason why you are spending this day, this important day, in the career and in the year, on trying to learn something which will position the organization for the future. My admiration is total. When I talk about the railways, I'm talking about the larger organization. And what do I see when I say railways? Railways is the largest employer in the country. Railways is the entity which truly binds the country geographically. Railways is apparently a monopoly, but as has been clearly laid out by the speakers earlier, we are actually in an extremely competitive environment. The competition comes from the roads, the competition comes from the air, and the competition is for movement of both passengers as well as goods. This being the case, it is really not surprising but admirable that railways has been at the forefront of digitization, and I'm talking about the coming of the IRCTC years ago, well before online shopping had become part of our lives. I also happen to have worked with a fintech a couple of years ago who had worked with the railways. He had just completed that assignment with the railways, which was a customer feedback project. And this app which he worked with the railways to develop was able to give the railways feedback on which train, which compartment, which passenger found that the water had been exhausted in the washroom between which station and which station. Okay, which item in the salad was not to the liking of that customer and for what reason. And again, my admiration was for the granularity of the information that the railway was seeking. And that is a sign of customer centricity. Once again, I applaud that spirit. Let me say something a little bit about my designation, Chief Digital Officer. I am not a technical person. I represent business. My role is to identify pain points, customer-facing pain points, organizational pain points, and to try and work with IT to find digital solutions to address those pain points, and subsequently to drive the adoption of those digital solutions. So in whatever I speak, there is going to be absolutely no jargon. I represent business. I am also joined in this gathering by some of my colleagues Mr. Pandey, who represents the payment services, Mr. Rawat, who represents the cash management system, Mr. Mishra, who represents the local head office here, Mr. Tamta, who represents the government banking unit. All of us, for all of us, it is an honor to be present here, and it is our single intent that we should be available to the railways as partners, whatever you need and whenever you need. I've been guided to talk about the digital banking ecosystem. It's a vast topic. So I'm happy that I've also been guided that I should focus on the payments part of the digital ecosystem, which makes my task a little easier. I know there will be people in the audience who have a complete grip on this particular subject. My apologies to them in advance. To the others, I would say that actually I may not be talking about anything new. All of it you have heard about or heard of. You would be aware of it in one context or the other. What we are doing today is bringing it all into one place so that we can see the building blocks of that ecosystem and then understand collectively how those building blocks can be used to construct different solutions for the problems that we perceive. So this is what I see as, at a very broad level, the concerns for the Indian Railways. There are customer expectations. The customers expect that the services of the railways should be available to them everywhere, in vernacular, and they should have easy access to payment modes. The organizational goals in line with national goals is to reduce the usage of cash, to be able to pay real time, and to have transparent procurement methods. This is at a very high level. Now, to meet these customer expectations, the enablers are, or the way the design would need to function is to be omnipresent, omni-channel type of payment system. This is what one would need to offer to the customer to meet his expectation. And the structure of the solution for the organizational goals would be that it should be a self-reconciliation kind of mechanism, a customizable solution, scalable, with, of course, cash management being an important element. This is a statutory slide that I have to show you because I have to tell you something about the State Bank of India, but here I am just going to point out a couple of important details. The State Bank of India is also an all-India vast organization present across the length and breadth of the country. Now, what I want to point out is the number of touch points that we have with the customer, the 22,000 branches, the 59,000 ATMs, the 58,000 BC outlets, as well as 3.5 lakh POS outlets which are there across the length and breadth. Now, we also have 42 crore customers. And to deal with this reach as well as the number of customers and the various demands, what the organization has learned and created the capacity for is to handle a load of 10,000 transactions per second on an average with a peak capacity of 23,000 transactions per second. I would just like to focus on the right side of this slide, and these are some of the awards that we are proud of, and once again, briefly to mention, the Invitee Best Innovative Product Award, this is actually for a loan lifecycle management system. The Asian Banker Financial Technology Award was for an enterprise mobility solution covering people, processes, and technology. Intelligent Enterprise Award was similarly for the enterprise mobility. And Brand Finance ranks SBI as the second most reputable banking brand. And for us, what this means is that a brand and the repute comes with its own weight. And today, when it's a customer, whether it is an organization or an individual customer, they also expect you, they trust you, but they also trust you to give them the best product in the best manner, at adopting the best technology. That is also part of the element of trust which one has to live up to. Global Finance was one more award. As you know, we have also been partners to the government in all its important initiatives, whether it is Passport Seva, whether it is the GST, GSTN, whether it is the government e-marketplace. So we will just quickly go over what are today the building blocks of the e-payment system, ecosystem in the country. Some of it is not new and some of it is. What is new, I'll spend a little more time. NEFT and RTGS, these are not new. Both are run by on the RBI backbone. The RTGS is a payment which is processed in batches of half an hour each, and the maximum that one can transfer through an NEFT is 2 lakhs. The RTGS is a real time, the credit is in real time, and I mean both of them come with a cutoff of the timings. That is, it's available, NEFT is available from 8 AM to 7 PM to the customer, and RTGS is available from 8 AM to 4:30 PM for the customer, and for interbank, it's available till 7:45. I will next come to the card network infrastructure, because that is also one of the oldest mechanisms that are available in the country, particularly with respect to how merchants are able to realize their payments from the customer. So these are the networks owned by Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and now of late, over the past 3-4 years, it is the RuPay which is managed by the NPCI. The interesting fact there is 30% of the transactions on debit cards are actually in the online space. That is just a fact that I wanted to bring to your attention. We come to the National Automated Clearing House. Now, this is a mechanism which allows you to pay large numbers of, to release large numbers of credits. It allows you to receive large numbers of credits or originate large numbers of debits across banks, in real time, across all banks and customers. And it also allows you to set up a mandate mechanism. That is, as a customer, I can give a mandate to my bank, and which allows, for instance, an EMI for a home loan. And that is processed, it is pulled by the respective bank, and it is processed in real time on that specific date that I have given the mandate for. I am coming last to the immediate payment service, the IMPS, which is relatively new and which is something that India is very proud of. It is a bit unique to the Indian ecosystem. Now, this is a mechanism which allows you to anonymize your bank account. It allows a customer, it allows a citizen, let me say, using his mobile phone on downloading an app, you are able to link your bank account to what is called a virtual payment address, which could be anything that you choose. For instance, I can be Anuradha at SBI. Within the app, I link this VPA to my bank account. And this app, this platform will allow me to make payments with a ceiling of 2 lakhs, which is the current RBI limit, to any other person known to me. It can be a P2P payment, where I can pay if I know the VPA of the other person, or if I know the bank account, I can use that bank account and IFSC information to make the payment, but I can make it through a VPA also. This whole anonymization is really helpful in the Indian context because of the lack. Everybody has a bank account today, but the fact is everybody is not necessarily aware of what information to keep confidential, and therefore to take care of the fact that people, it is more difficult to educate people about everything that they have to know. And probably more prudent to design a system where they actually don't have to part with information which is sensitive. So this system allows you to do that, and the IMPS in its bare-bone methodology needs the mobile number, and you need an MMID and the beneficiary needs an MMID. But the important thing about the IMPS system is that the UPI also works on this platform. So what is UPI? The UPI is interoperable, it is mobile-based, it is managed, it's a mobile-based payment solution. It can work P2P, it can work P2M. It is managed by the NPCI, which is a quasi-regulatory body for this form of payments. Essentially, here you download the Bhim UPI app, link your bank account the way I described it earlier within the app. You generate an app PIN, you generate a UPI PIN. And with this, you are ready to make your remittance. The only other country which has this in a stabilized manner, to my knowledge, is Australia. And Australia started this development a little ahead of us, and they have just introduced a very similar system which is called the new payment system. Now, the UPI combined with, how is the UPI different from existing payment methods? This is an API-based system, and it requires no infrastructure. Even for a POS machine, you need the POS machine, and there is a cost attached to the use of the POS machine. Either there is an ownership cost or there is a rental cost. Now, this works only on the mobile phone, and a mobile phone is an essential part of anybody who is trying to do, everyone has, the penetration of mobile phones is very high in the country, as well as merchants have now begun to perceive the ownership of a mobile phone as a great enabler for them to actually do business. And therefore, just on the basis of the usage of the mobile phone and the APIs, you're able to get a single click payment through either to a person or to a merchant. At this point of time, I really want to say that it is we should appreciate the fact that in India we have a strong payments regulator in the RBI who has insisted on two-factor authentication. This is not prevalent in most of the advanced countries also, and it is a great factor of protection. You hear of data, card data, and other debit card, credit card data being stolen from India or Indian sources, but they are never used in India. They are invariably used in the US or in Canada, where the two-factor authentication is not present. You can just use the card number and draw money through an ATM over there, or you can swipe it in a Target or any other store, and anything that passes for a signature is taken as valid. And therefore, we must really appreciate the step taken by RBI in giving us on insisting on two-factor authentication, because in this country, once again, with its limited levels of awareness, it is that strong regulator which will help a particular system to stabilize and take root. Just a couple of things that I want to point out about the UPI. UPI transactions have crossed 40 crores in September. That is the number of UPI transactions, and the total volume of transactions is nearly 60,000 crores passing through this mechanism. It is really the channel of the future. This is where India is going to migrate for its small value payments. And month on month, the growth rate is close to 30%. And it is expected that, we would reach a volume of $1 trillion over the next 5 years in digital payments. Recently, we have had the launch of UPI 2.0, which is the second version of UPI. The difference between the earlier version and this one is that it allows you to link the UPI, the VPA, to a debit account. So I can also operate it on an overdraft account. The other interesting feature is the invoice in inbox, which is the merchant can send an invoice to the customer can examine the invoice, and when he is satisfied with the details, he can remit the money. These are all features which are designed to deal with Indian situations that you find in practice. The other interesting feature is that when using the UPI, you can actually scan the QR code of the merchant, and you are able to authenticate that this is the genuine merchant. Let me spend a couple of minutes on Bharat QR itself. UPI and Bharat QR together actually form the complete, relatively unique Indian solution. Bharat QR is a secure way for merchants to receive payments. Now the QR code encompasses the merchant information, his bank information, including IFSC code, is all put in there in the coded form. It's interoperable against among all the major card schemes, and customers can make payment using debit card, credit card, or UPI. The MDR on UPI to the merchants is less precisely because there is no need for an infrastructure. And it's a great way to achieve that less cash economy across the board. Now the Bharat QR with the UPI may not be an ideal solution where you are dealing with long queues and you want fast processing. But wherever you find ATMs are far away, bank branches are far away, and you still want an economy to sustain in a self-sustaining manner with less use of cash, it really comes in helpful. You want to pay 23 rupees 15 paise for something, you are able to do it on this. Today it will be very hard to find a way of actually delivering 15 paise value to anybody. I doubt if you would carry that kind of change and what kind of effort it would need for you to give the change, or for the merchant to give you back if you give him 1 rupee, for him to give back the change. The POS machines are well known, and like I said earlier, it is part of the payment infrastructure which is most well established. Today there are additional features to the POS machine where the machine accepts not only debit card, credit card, but also Bharat QR UPI transactions can be done through the POS machine. This is called a moped. Bharat Bill Pay, I am just mentioning, it may not really have relevance for the railways, but I am mentioning because it's part of the infrastructure which has been set up by the Government of India. Utility bills are available to be paid over here, and customers can access this site and seamlessly pay utility bills. Now, the way this helps the utilities in the sense that everyone does not have to develop their own website. At a single interface, customers can pay whichever utility. Also, for the customer, it becomes a way to establish a payment behavior. Because if you have paid everything regularly on Bharat Pay over a period of six months, let us say, and you have no other credit history, but this record enables you to establish a degree of creditworthiness or trustworthiness to a potential lender. NACH, we had mentioned earlier how you can use it for doing multiple credits, multiple debits, you can set up the debits and credits for a future date, and the subsidies are running through this platform. Now, how has State Bank, I'd just like to give you 2-3 examples of how the bank has put these things together and created its own platforms. Corporate internet banking is one such platform. The railways as a whole may find it difficult to use corporate internet banking, but smaller entities like say an IRFC, which has a limited structural organization, for them this is an ideal methodology where you can do all your internal transactions between your accounts, make your payments in a way that follows your own organizational powers. Whoever is authorized to do whichever transaction, you can build it into the corporate internet banking and carry on those without needing to send anybody to the bank. The single transaction limit is 2,000 crores and any number of transactions can be done in a day. Tax payment is also available there. The SBI aggregator services, okay, this essentially enables you to make all your payments to all parties regardless of where they are. So you can handle your salary payments through this, you can handle your vendor payments through this. It also allows you to receive payments across all banks and all customers. So it is a two-way platform for payments and receipts. And the most important thing is that you will get customized MIS in the way and manner with the language that you choose for your organization. It allows customers to pay through internet banking of any bank, debit cards of any bank, UTI, RTGS, NEFT, credit cards, State Bank branch and so on. Easy Pay is a reloadable card. It is a KYC card, but where the railways has a large number of casual or contract employees, one can issue the EasyPay card to them. They are also spread out in various places rather than they may have bank accounts, they may not be in a position to access their bank accounts on a regular basis. So one can load whatever payment is due to them on the EasyPay card. They will get an SMS saying that this much money is loaded on your card. They can go to the nearest ATM and take cash. They can go to a nearby POS machine with a merchant and avail what is called cash at POS. Today, merchants are permitted to give cash up to 2,000 rupees by swiping a card. It can be a debit card, it can also be the EasyPay card, and they will get access to up to 2,000 rupees of cash. They can use the EasyPay card to make any of their payments in a digital form. Impressed card is widely used in the railway system. Achiever card is used by corporates to reward their employees as the incentives are typically loaded on the Achiever card. Gift card, of course, is a gift card, requires no explanation. And there is the foreign travel card, which is typically a single card on which you can, which is reloadable, which can be used across geographies. And currently 8 to 10 currencies are available for loading on this. I want to briefly mention interesting transit solutions which have come up in the Indian ecosystem. One is the National Common Mobility Card or the National Common Mobility Card Standard, which is the QSPARC. This is an NFC based, this works on an NFC ecosystem. The acquiring ecosystem would need to be NFC enabled. This is envisaged as one card which is in the prepaid format, which is on an EMV chip, which can be used on any metro anywhere in the country. Not only it can be used in the metro, it can be used on any other mobility system which comes on board. Let us say a road transport corporation comes on board, you would be able to use it on their system also. It can be reloadable at the station, it can be reloadable on POS, it can be reloadable on the ATM. So you keep loading the prepaid balance, you can and you can use it on any metro, and which is why the name of it is National Common Mobility Card. This is something the government is working, it is not quite in place, but in a couple of months we should see it in active use. The other interesting thing about the Common Mobility Card is that it has service areas where you can store other information. For instance, if somebody is a monthly traveler and wants to avail that monthly pass facility, then that pass can be loaded onto one of these service areas and he will be able to get that fare as opposed to the daily fare. And similarly, loyalty points and so on. City-specific kind of, we all know that Singapore has a single app which enables you to travel all over and access all facilities. Similarly, this is envisaged as growing into something which can be used as a single point access card for, let us say, all establishments in a smart city. Perhaps I can share with you that the next step of this is also that the government is envisaging that this should be a debit cum prepaid card. That is, a customer, anybody, would have only a single card with him. That is his debit card issued by the bank, but it comes bundled with this prepaid option which is also created on the same EMV chip. The RBI is yet to give their formal clearance to this proposal, and therefore we are waiting for that, but I thought it is an opportunity for you to share conceptually what is the thought. So this will enable you don't have to go online and reload your prepaid card. You don't have to access anywhere. You can put a standing instruction on your bank account that every time the balance falls below 500 rupees on my prepaid portion, 1,000 rupees gets transferred to the prepaid. And therefore it's automated and it allows you to do your banking as well as all your traveling using that one card. As of now, it is envisaged as a metro solution. And the reason why I am placing it before this audience is there is no reason why the railways cannot come on board in a larger way. And why I am saying that is today, I think it's about a month since I took a flight from Mumbai airport. Today, for the first time, I saw a gate where you scan your ticket and you're able to go through the gate. So there is no longer a human being there looking at your ticket and waving you through. So that little change in the way the traffic is processed, the human traffic is processed or handled at a railway station could make the railways, a great adopter of the NCMC model also. The other thing I want to share with you is the FASTag. The FASTag is an RFID sticker which is affixed to the vehicles. It contains the identification of the vehicles, what kind of, is it a car, is it a bus, is it a truck, what kind of truck it is. And it also can be reloaded. Individuals can have it on their vehicles. If there is a corporate with a fleet of 100 vehicles, they can they can have the FASTag on all their vehicles. The advantage of this is that you can traverse without waiting at the toll gate in 430 national highway plazas. Imagine the kind of time that you're able to save when you don't have to stop anywhere, especially when you're traveling long distance. It also, I think, helps in a great deal of fuel saving when you don't have to slow down and start again. So the FASTag works, the actual amount, whatever is the toll meant for that vehicle, gets debited from the electronic balance which is linked to the FASTag, and it is handled not real time, but it is handled in a batch processing mode. The other feature here is that if you are the owner of this fleet of 100 vehicles, you would get an SMS every time the debit happens. So you will know at any given point of time where all your vehicles are, whether they are on the scheduled route, what has been paid, and you get an MIS about the total movement and the usage of the electronic balances. So that is as far as the infrastructure is concerned and some of the State Bank specific solutions is concerned. But I think my duty would not be complete unless I mention what is today the most important, the flagship product, digital product of the State Bank of India, which is YONO. YONO stands for You Only Need One. It is at present a customer-facing app. It allows you to do all your banking transactions. You can be a pure digital customer of the bank. You never need to come to the bank for anything. It also gives you access to a financial superstore, which means you can buy mutual funds, you can order a credit card, you can buy insurance, whether it's general insurance or life insurance, from that one app. So it's a complete financial superstore. And most uniquely, it is an online marketplace. You want to shop on Amazon, you want to shop on Tata Click, you want to shop on Jabong, Myntra. There are 87 merchants at present, and they are all in one place. You don't have to go from website to website looking for the best deals. The deals which are available on the online marketplace in YONO are equal to or better than the deals which are available on the individual websites. This is something I think the younger generation, this is an onboarding product, let us say, for the State Bank of India, for the younger generation, and it is our way of connecting with the millennials, who will never come to a bank. They don't care where the bank is, they don't know where the bank is, they only deal through the digital interface. And this is our offering, especially for them. But we are finding very good adoption with other customers also. Now the last part of this YONO project is what we call end-to-end digitization, where all internal processes of the bank are being digitized to map the customer journey on YONO. The way the customer experiences a journey is going to be very similar to the way the staff experiences the same journey. So the branch environment and the branch journey is going to be very similar to what the customer gets. Otherwise, the staff in the branch are typically left in a legacy era, and the customer-facing apps tend to move further ahead as far as the digitization and technology is concerned. We realized that that is not the right way to proceed, and whether it is in the branch, whether it is the customer, the journey and the interface are very similar, except that in the branch you have a checker. There is a maker and a checker, so there is an additional leg of a checker. Otherwise, the journey is identical. A few other things that we are investing in, which is robotic process automation. Moving to public cloud, Microsoft 360 is something we have subscribed to, and we do a lot of work in this protected cloud within the confines of what Microsoft guarantees to us. We are able to move files, we are able to do our work, we are able to sign off digitally without paper having to move from desk to desk, regardless of who is situated where. You could be traveling and you could approve a particular file. The file doesn't have to wait for you to come back to your workplace. Data science today, data is the new oil, and that's an oversaid kind of statement, but use of data in an intelligent way to help the organization, but also to help the customer, is the approach to data science. For instance, recently our card company looked at their data and approached a prominent retailer with a suggestion that you should open 4 stores at these locations, because the information which is shown by the spending pattern of our customers, where is the customer located, where is he spending, where is that store located, and how far the customer needs to travel to, to come to this store using that credit card, has given an idea that there is space here, there is room here, there is room here, and there is room here, and that entity is extremely interested. They were initially quite skeptical about even listening to the concept, but when the data was shown to them, it is anonymized data, it is data in aggregate, but they are deeply interested, and so it is just an illustration of how we would like to use data to help customers. Conversational chatbots, we are all familiar with. Whether it is voice-based, text-based, customer-facing chatbots have become ubiquitous. Adaptive securities, especially in a digital environment, it is necessary that you not only authenticate the customer when he first enters your portal, but throughout his journey from time to time, one needs to be sure that it is that same, the authentic customer that you're dealing with. So adaptive security takes care of that periodic authentication and is a risk mitigating factor. Biometric authentication and open API for developers. This is, we clearly realize, as the railways had realized before us, that you cannot today do everything yourself. There are thousands of fintechs, there are thousands of startups with their own technology, their own algorithm, their own solutions, their own ways of putting solutions together. They cannot become the entire bank. But the bank also doesn't have to reinvent all those thousands of solutions which have already been found for certain niche problems. Therefore, you partner with them, opening your APIs in a controlled environment. You can do your POC, you can do a test, and if it is found to be successful, you can roll it out across the entire organization to the benefit of customers on agreed commercials. We use natural language processing. There is a voice activated assistant called Siva. We get a lot of people who apply for positions in the bank wherever there is a recruitment, and one needs to, if you physically go through those lakhs of applications, it requires a lot of manpower, and therefore there is resume parsing which is used. Alexa, our NLP solution is also available on Alexa itself. There's cognitive computing, where we are trying to introduce technologies by which when a customer enters the branch, he is recognized by his facial features. There is an emotion-based feedback system at the counter where the expression of the customer is captured when he is leaving the counter, so that one gets an idea without asking him separately to press this button or that button about whether he is leaving in a satisfied state of mind. There's voice biometrics. There is borrower profile 360 degrees, which is not only your financial information, but also, like I said, your payment behavior from other sources. Then there are ways of reading with the permission of the customer not the details of the messages on the mobile, but the timing and who you are communicating with. Now, this is all an area of psychology, but it has been proven again and again by iterative processes of the algorithms, which enable you to get a forward-looking picture of the borrower's profile rather than from a pure credit history, which gives you a backward-looking. It is of the past. It doesn't really tell you how he is going to behave in future. So this 360 degrees enables you to get an insight into his possible current behavioral patterns. Tone tag engagement is where you are able to make a payment provided the acquiring infrastructure is suitable through passage of sound waves. Okay? NFC is contactless and tone tag is through sound waves. Now, blockchain is at an industry level. 10 banks have got together, and we are examining how to build meaningful solutions for the banking industry on a blockchain platform. Within State Bank, we already have Nepal, India, which is a strong remittance corridor. This is already on blockchain. Here I just want to say that we have strong linkages with fintechs, and we have a startup engagement program, we have student engagement programs, we do hackathons. We give them ideas and ask them to solve it, and we also encourage the red team, blue team concept where they are allowed to try and hack into the system in an official environment. Briefly, I would like to describe the engagement which SBI has with the railways, the existing engagement framework. The e-auction and e-freight services of the railways are powered by the SBI aggregator platform. The recruitments in certain of the geographies are also powered by SBI aggregator platform. The IREPS platform also has the aggregator at the back. Impressed cards are in use, as I said before. 9,000 POS machines are installed in different stations, and the current solution envisages host-to-host integration with the railway's CRIS system in such a way that no manual intervention is required and there is straight-through processing. This is under testing in a few railway stations, and we should roll it out soon everywhere. Unreserved ticketing solution, the UTS app already handles UPI. The Bharat QR functionality is in the phase of advanced testing, and SBI aggregator module, the discussions are going on. Cash pickup services are actively used in, I think, 9 of the 10 of the railway zones, and 6 are under consideration. Now, cash pickup is a fairly simple thing, so I think I will not spend more time on that. The letter of credit, the railways have understood that it is important to give, to assure the vendors that they will get paid in time. And therefore, there is an LC facility which has been worked out as a specific solution to the railways, where the LC is issued to the vendor, and under certain authorizations at the railway end, the payment is released to the vendor. So the whole process of vendor payment becomes much more streamlined and much more timely. The centralized vendor salary and vendor payments, this is actually again through a CRIS-based solution. The railways uploads its payments file onto CRIS, from where it gets transferred to an SFTP server in an encrypted fashion. It is picked up by our solution, which is called Fast Plus, and the rest of the processing is automated, and everything goes into the respective PAOs, because the files itself contain all the relevant information. On the side, the settlement with the government and RBI is something which the State Bank does. With that, I would like to conclude and thank the IRAS and this community once again for inviting us to this important event. And I would only say that we have one approach to the partnership with Railways. We would like to understand your requirement. We would like to use these building blocks to customize the solution for you. And most important of all, the MIS that is created should meet your need and should be further customizable from time to time. So we have been your trusted partners. We look forward to continuing on that path. Thank you.